and welcome to this life where we're talking about how do we cultivate that self-love for ourselves. How do we start to truly loving on ourselves so that we can show other people how to love us. Because if we want to really be visible or to do whatever it is that we want to do, we have to really be in tune with ourselves. And sometimes there's certain parts of us that we're not okay with and we're not kind of like into. And how do we then get that in tuneness? How do we then start truly loving on ourselves? What are those things that we can start doing to help us to start showing love for us and to show others how to love us? Hi, I am Nene, and I am a self-love and confidence coach. And I work with introverted women in business who want to gain that confidence to be visible, to be seen, to be heard, and to be understood. And if we're wanting this for ourselves, how do we then show the love to us? Because sometimes we just kind of like rely on other people's love. I know for me, myself, I was kind of like relied on, my folks telling me, yes, you're fine, you're good, you are this, you're like, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't really believe it for myself. And for us to be our own biggest cheerleader, our own biggest advocate, for us to be seen where we want to be seen, we really need to kind of like be in tune with who we are and how we, like our wholeness. And there's certain things we can do to start really bringing that out in us. A simple exercise as when you wake up in the morning, going in front of a mirror and looking yourself in the eye and telling yourself, you say your name, I love you. So for me, what I did is like, Nene, I love you. Even though that's the hardest thing. In the beginning, I was like, I am not feeling it. And to really just hold on to that notion of loving myself. Yes, we're not believing it, but over time, we will believe it. Evidence will start coming up for us to show us how that, yes, I'm loving on you. So it is a case of really and truly, like, it is hard. Because there's certain things that, and the funny thing is, like, sometimes the flaws in us, other people don't see it until we point it out and then they see it. I didn't love myself because like I just felt so odd. I felt like no one else. I have this amazing birthmark that covers the whole of my left arm. And it was such a vein of like shame for me. The notion that I felt like sometimes I'm able to express myself, but when it comes down to writing it down, I just couldn't. And how other people thrived and how it was so easy for others to just be okay. And I found it hard. And that's when the comparison comes in, and that's when that. But when we can like really understand that being liking your own space, it's okay. Not wanting to hang all the time is okay. Not feeling any waves is okay. But still doing you. And you have to love that part of you. And by looking and liking and telling yourself that I love you, and love whatever parts that you don't feel comfortable in. Oh, Nene, I love how wonky your eyes are. I love your birthmark. I love your smile. I love your hair. I love this about you. And to take the next step further, really stand there and really feel the love for yourself. Really hone in on that feeling of loving yourself. You can hold it for just a couple more minutes or seconds when you're telling yourself and emphasize different points. Nene, I love you. Nene, I love you. And feel in those words. Nene, I love you. Nene, I love you. When you're looking in yourself in the mirror and telling yourself this. With that start happening. It is hard. But when we decide that, you know what, I need to really connect with myself, that's when I'll start being able to speak up for myself. When you can truly love yourself, that's when you can start saying, you know what, I'm holding this space. This is where I want to land in. And this is how I want to show up here. It doesn't have to be how everybody else is showing, but this is how I want to, because I love me. Not because how somebody else loves me, because of how I love me. And when we can get to that point of loving every aspect of ourselves, regardless of how or what others might think, and we truly own that loving, do we then connect with that? So words of affirmation is another way to really tune that love for ourselves. We have the mirror exercise where we say those phrases to ourselves, and then we then have the bits where we just say affirmation. I just love your curvaceous body. I love whatever, you say those things to yourself and really just meditate on it. Because affirmations are things that we not yet believe in ourselves, that we say to ourselves. So when we are saying these words of affirmation to ourselves, we are tuning and getting to that point of getting there. Another way we can cultivate this love for ourselves is writing ourselves a love story. Writing ourselves like how, we want to be loved. Before we now add some third party into this equation, we need to have that for ourselves. And that's where that pouring out that love of just writing praise and love and just pouring out to ourselves and just reading that back. Yes, it is a journey. Yes, we have so many things and whatever that's happening. But you know what? We're never too old to have a happy childhood. Whatever that has happened is, how do we see it now? How can we transform whatever that lack we think we have of ourselves, or whatever unworthiness we think of ourselves, how can we flip the switch to now start owning who we are, owning our story, and owning how we want to flow and show? Because if we don't, we'll be living somebody else's script about how to love ourselves. We'll be going on other things. And when we truly love ourselves, we'll be able to advocate for ourselves. We're able to hold space. We're able to be and do things that we want to do in our own way. Not in the way everybody else wants it done, but just how we want it to be done. Okay? So let's start cultivating that self-loving things. And loving ourselves could be taking yourself out for a solo date. Could be really pampering yourself. What brings you joy? That's why I love that. Bring on the joy. What's that thing? Is really owning, you know what? I'm celebrating you. We're going to do this. We're doing the, whatever it is. What lights you up? Let me know in the comment section. How do you show yourself love? How do you give yourself compassion? Because that's another thing as well. Really loving ourselves is being compassionate to ourselves. Instead of beating ourselves down, we elevate and encourage ourselves. Okay, that didn't work out today. Let's try again. Let's go. Whatever it is, let's do this. Hey. So cultivating self-love is just so much we can do to start really making sure we're putting ourselves first. We're speaking up for ourselves. So I'm just talking about how we cultivate the self-love for ourselves. And just to bring it all together, having a simple technique of just doing that mirror technique in the morning, looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself, say your name and I love you, is the basics where we can start doing from today to really start honing in on that love for ourselves, to start developing that, okay, and just be kind. The kindness you show unto yourself is paramount to anything. So the last thing I would love to just end this on is the way we show love to ourselves is how do we love others? Because when we do and show others how to love us, we are also, indirectly loving on ourselves. So one thing I have is called, I learned from one of my mentors, GM3, is the 50-yard rule. So whenever someone's 50 yard in around you, in your mind, in your brain, you're loving on them. Just saying, I love you. Like, whatever it is. You don't have to physically say, you don't have to even tell them, but you are thinking it. You are feeling into, I love you. And the projection would just happen, and it would just be like this attraction thing that's just going on. And people will see the genuineness in you, and by seeing that, how people are kind or whatever it is, regardless of who it is, it doesn't have to be anybody you see. Have this 50-yard rule in your mind. I love you. I want the best for you, and pour that love to them, and in turn that love will come back to you. So really take that time to really hone in on loving on yourself, on working on what is it, what am I lacking, and then and just go through those process that I have shared today in helping you to start cultivating the love for yourself. So grateful for your time, so grateful that your being here. This is day 2 of my life challenge, and let's go cultivating, let's go building on that muscle of loving ourselves so we can show other people how to love us. And remember that your voice matters, and it's your time to own it.